So I bring you another edition of the Car Concierge Show, the show that helps with the buying, selling, maintaining, and repairing of your vehicle. On today's show, we're going to talk about a crash that happened in Utah where it exploded at Domino's. Massive explosion. Definitely want to see that video. Also, we're going to talk about country singer Connor Smith as he gets misdemeanor charges after he was in a collision that killed a 70-year-old woman. And next up, we're going to talk about Volkswagen and Uber getting together so they can get into the robotaxi race as they bring out the Robo ID.Buzz. You know, pretty much a Volkswagen, you know those Volkswagen vans. We all love them. And last but not least, we're going to check out Ford CEO Jim Farley as he talks about the advancement of EVs and what is the right direction for Ford to go when it comes to EVs. Alright, so let's jump straight into it. I wanted to talk about this story last week, but there was a massive explosion when there was a 3-car accident over in Utah that exploded at Domino's restaurant. I thought the footage was pretty awesome. So we're going to check that out real quick, and we're going to talk about the fact that, you know, as you all know, I'm not a big EV advocator, but of course I will always say that when it comes to the ability for a gas-powered vehicle to cause more damage than an electric vehicle, it's quite possible a situation specifically with the gas. Okay, so let's check it out.
A frightening scene at a Utah strip mall Saturday caught on camera by a passerby. A huge explosion blew up a business in a suburb of Salt Lake City, creating a
All right, let me go ahead and get rid of myself. So I definitely want y'all to see this video.
A huge explosion blew up a business in a suburb of Salt Lake City, creating a massive fireball as you see there. Police say a 3-car crash sent an SUV careening.
Look at that. That looked like either a Tahoe or Denali, something of that matter. But look at this explosion. I want y'all to see this and how you could see there's a couple of people walking past and they had to take off running. But this explosion is massive. Check this out one more time.
Explosion blew up a business in a suburb of Salt Lake City, creating a massive fireball as you see there. Police say a 3-car crash sent an SUV careening into the mall, hitting a gas line. 3 people were taken to the hospital.
Now, mind you, we can always say that
Larry, check this out. With On Deck, we could get a small business
would explode and cause all that massive damage. But I will say, as we continue our conversations about gas vehicles as compared to EV vehicles and the maintenance of gas powered vehicles and the maintenance of EV vehicles and all of those comparisons, we will always have to say, and just going off of us all watching iRobot with Will Smith, we understand that with a gas powered vehicle you do have somewhat of a more explosive situation in your vehicle if you compare it to an electric vehicle. Now, mind you, this is not completely tested out. We know that electric vehicles and their batteries are very volatile. We know that they can catch on fire with just a connection to water in some cases. So, and that's the whole thing. We just don't really know as much as we should know or we would want to know about these electric vehicles and all the ins and outs and how they could be positive or negative. So let's keep going. It's going to be a quick show. It's a beautiful Sunday, great rodeo week. I'm going to head over to a little rodeo event here in a minute, so we're going to jump into this quick and get in and out. Alright, so speaking of rodeos, we're going to head over to the country scene and check out, and this is actually very sad news, Connor Smith, a young and up-and-coming country singer, got into a little fender bender where he hit a 71-year-old lady. Let's check that out.
Connor Smith was issued a misdemeanor state citation after being involved in a fatal car
I would never understand how you could put the word misdemeanor and fatal in the same sentence, but let's listen.
accident. Multiple outlets confirmed that the Metropolitan Nashville Police Department issued the citation on Thursday, July 10th, 1 month after the incident that resulted in the death of a 77-year-old woman named Dorothy Dobbins. Connor is incredibly grateful to the MNPD for their time and efforts to carefully investigate this tragic accident and has continued to cooperate at all times. Smith's attorney Warwick G. Robinson IV said in a statement to Us Weekly, "His thoughts remain with Ms. Dobbins' family, and he remains committed to honoring her memory with compassion by supporting efforts to improve pedestrian safety and help prevent future tragedies." Smith was charged with a misdemeanor traffic offense in June after Dobbins was hit and killed by a truck he was driving in Nashville. The preliminary investigation indicates that a Chevrolet Silverado pickup truck, driven by Connor Smith, was traveling north on 3rd Avenue North as Dobbins was crossing the roadway, Nashville police said in a press release posted online. It appears that she was inside a marked crosswalk when she was struck around 7:30 p.m. Dobbins, who lived nearby, was transported to Vanderbilt University Medical Center where she died.
I'm going to say that I definitely need more information before I make a really solid statement on this situation. You know, it just came across my feed. You know, big country advocate. I love good country music. You know, I know who Connor Smith is, and you know, you always want to touch on situations where, you know, anybody loses their lives in any kind of car accident in any situation. So, I mean, my first thought would be we have some privilege here going on. We got a up and coming country music star that you don't want to destroy his career while he's on the up and coming. And then of course we have a young or elderly lady, young in thought, that has lost her life, and all that has come of it is a misdemeanor. Now, mind you, I will always say that it sounds like Connor Smith has been cooperating fully with the police. He's said all the right things, did all the right things, and it really truly does sound like this was an accident. But my mind keeps coming back to, if it was truly an accident and there was nothing Connor Smith did that jeopardized this lady's life, why was he given a misdemeanor citation? I don't know. This is one I'm gonna really have to think about. Really have to study, check and see if there's any notification on if this young man was under any kind of influences when this occurred, and what's the misdemeanor for? That's gonna be my ultimate question. Is what is the citation for? Not looking both ways before you went through a stop. Yeah, I mean it's a tough one for me because somebody lost their life, somebody's family member lost their life, and seems like he's been doing and saying all the right things. He's been saying the right things, doing the right things, as we can see. cooperating fully with the police, which is always a good thing if you want to, prove your innocence, as it were. But I mean, it's just, I don't understand the misdemeanor citation part of it. So as long as there's the misdemeanor citation part of it, I'm going to have some level of thought that, there was something that Connor Smith did that, caused this young lady to lose her life. You almost have to think that way, because he was cited for something. And if you're cited for something, that means you did something wrong. So we'll keep an eye on that. But it just we pray for the family of the lady that lost her life, and we hope that they get some solace from this, and that it's always hard to lose anybody in your family. So that's what we should be thinking about. And if this Connor Smith did do something wrong that caused her to lose her life there faster than she should, he should be held way more accountable than a misdemeanor citation. All right, let's keep going. So now, as you all well know, I'm just not the biggest fan of EVs. There's been this major uptick in all of these robotaxis and the Waymos and the Tesla robotaxis of the world, where they're coming out with more. They're coming out with way more, and they're going to be hitting the streets faster. And you have to understand that the robotaxi business is going to be, for EV companies, a boom, because it's going to be a situation where these companies are going to buy EV vehicles in bulk, change them over to fit their robotaxi needs. And this is going to, if it continues the way it does, it's going to be something that happens in pretty much all states, and we're going to get closer and closer to a Wally world. So, you Uber drivers and you Lyft drivers, and y'all need to go back to school, because it's going to get bad for y'all out here. So, next up, we're talking about a new robotaxi company built with a unified front with Volkswagen and Uber. Volkswagen Uber coming out with a robotaxi, and it's the ID.Buzz. Now, everybody knows about the Volkswagen van. What they call it? I don't remember, but that Volkswagen van they had. It was like the Beetle van, whatever. Well, they're turning that in, the latest model of it, into a robotaxi. So let's check out that story real quick.
Volkswagen's ID.Buzz RoboVan may crush Tesla in the robotaxi race. Have you ever wondered which automaker will actually win the robotaxi race, Tesla or Volkswagen? Think about that for a second. If you already know the answer or have a guess, drop it in the comments right now. And while you're there, hit that like button and subscribe if you're not part of the EVpedia family yet. Seriously, don't ride along without a charge. Let's set a challenge: 1,000 likes and 100 comments in the next 24 hours. Can you be the reason we hit that goal? We think you can. Now buckle up, because this one's big. Volkswagen might just beat Tesla to the punch with a driverless RoboVan that's already grabbing attention and turning heads, and it's not even in full service yet. So here's what's going down. Volkswagen has partnered with Uber to roll out their futuristic ID.Buzz as a driverless ride-hailing service right here in the US. And yes, this is more than just an idea. It's happening. The pilot program kicks off later this year in Los Angeles, featuring autonomous vans running on MOIA's ride-pooling tech, MOIA being Volkswagen's own mobility company based in Berlin. And get this, Volkswagen isn't just throwing tech into vans and hoping it works. They've been testing this for years. Back in June 2023, they were already driving a fleet of electric vans retrofitted with advanced autonomous gear, think LiDAR, radar, and cameras, all across the streets of Austin, Texas. That's on top of their pilot program in Hamburg, Germany, where they're collaborating with both MOIA and Holon. If you haven't heard of Holon, it's a spin-off of Bentiler, and it's building a 15-passenger electric shuttle called the Mover. Both Holon's shuttle and the ID.Buzz are running the exact same self-driving tech. Now, here's the juicy part. While Volkswagen will begin the LA pilot with human supervisors on board just to refine the system, they're aiming for a full-blown commercial launch by 2026. That means within just a couple of years, we could be hailing fully autonomous ID. Buzz vans right from our phones. And don't forget, people love the ID. Buzz. It's not just another EV van. When we got our hands on a press loaner in New York City, it drew crowds wherever it went. People stopped, stared, smiled. Even the NYPD took a second look. So imagine these head-turners zipping around your city without a driver. Meanwhile, Waymo, Google's robotaxi division, is already offering fully autonomous ride-hailing with their driverless Jaguar I-Pace fleet in Phoenix, LA, and San Francisco. They're pulling off over 200,000 driverless rides every week. Uber's also working with Waymo in Austin and Atlanta, but Volkswagen is aiming for a completely different category of experience with the ID.Buzz RoboVan. And sure, Tesla has been teasing its own driverless ride-hailing platform, supposedly launching in Austin this June. They even revealed a concept RoboVan at their We Robot event in Hollywood. But let's be real, as of now, you're more likely to ride in a Volkswagen ID.Buzz RoboVan than in a Tesla version. Volkswagen isn't just showing renderings, they're deploying actual vehicles running actual routes, with actual tech behind it. So what do we at EVpedia think? Honestly, this could be a game changer. Volkswagen's slow burn strategy of testing, refining, and now collaborating with Uber might just allow them to outmaneuver Tesla in the autonomous ride-hailing world. And if they get it right in LA, other cities won't be far behind. We're excited because this isn't vaporware. It's the future pulling up to the curb. But what about you? Do you think Volkswagen has what it takes to dethrone Tesla in the robotaxi space? Or is Tesla still the ultimate disruptor? Let us know your thoughts in the comments.
Alright, so now mind you, of course, you already know I'm not down for this robotaxi thing. I still don't believe in it. One of my favorite shows, Upload, has scared me away from it to the point where I'm almost refusing to get into a Waymo or any kind of robotaxi at this point. But what I will say is that when you put it in the form of a van or a bigger model vehicle that that you can sit in, that you can feel a little bit more safer in, that might lead me closer to doing it, but I'm still not going to do it. And this is just another advancement of our road down to the situations where we're just living in a world, a Wally world, where people are not doing anything but getting into these cars and zipping along. So my biggest thing is, and of course, one of the ultimate problems I have with this is just the lack of the refinement of the drivability of people. I talk about this all the time. If when I was a kid, and of course I'm super old, I know it, but when I was a kid, we were taught how to drive sticks. Everybody knew how to drive a stick around me. Everybody. Most people had a stick. Sticks were available. Automatic vehicles were there as well. Very available. But there were people that still drove sticks. And manual vehicles, whatever you want to call it. And I was thinking about this the other day, and there's not just very few, because a car came into my shop and I saw it, and it of course was a manual, and you just don't see them anymore. So what that caused a lot of our children and our children's children not to be able to drive a stick. They jump into a vehicle that has a stick and they wouldn't know what to do. And so they've lost that knowledge. That knowledge is gone. The knowledge to drive a stick is pretty much gone. There's absolutely very few people in this world, in this futuristic world. Not very few people. There's people that know how to drive a stick, but the majority of the world do not know how to drive sticks. So that ability has pretty much been phased out of our world. Then we get to a point where we start getting into these robotaxis and all these vehicles that drive themselves. And of course, even more so with ADAS systems. People not using their side view mirrors to park, to make sure that they're not hitting anything. All these skills are just being diminished by technology. And I think these skills have to still be there in people, and that is a big problem for me. Just the whole situation of it. Not, when you drive it, that's another thing. When they take the driving test, they don't require you to require you to take it the same way they used to. When Elise took hers, you know, the best way to say it is we're not teaching our children how to operate things if they didn't have all this technology based around it. So all this technology is making us weaker. We're not knowing how to do certain things because technology takes care of it for us. And it's getting worse and worse, specifically with AI and all these other technologies. It's almost to the point where people don't even have to think anymore. So, and EV vehicles are at the utmost front of that situation. And we're just not learning all the things that we used to. We're just not. And we're taking away vast amounts of knowledge from people because it's not necessary. Now, mind you, I guess you could say that it's good that it's not necessary, but it's bad that if we get to a point where all of this knowledge is gone and you run into a situation where you still need that knowledge and nobody has it. You know what I mean? It's just weird. Alright. My rant for today. So, let me get y'all up out of here. This is going to be a quick show like I said. Still staying with EVs like we always do. And one of my favorite CEOs, Ford CEOs, Jim Farley, he wanted to talk more about the Tesla self-driving deals and how Ford would get involved in that. So this is going to be a reader real quick. I'm going to read this to y'all. We're going to talk about it a little bit and then I'm going to let y'all get up out of here. Alright, so this is from Electrek. Ford CEO shuts down Tesla's full self-driving deal, says Waymo is better. And it's from Fred Lampert, and it's from June 30th, so it's a while back. Ford has long been rumored to be discussed with Tesla about licensed full self-driving technology, but CEO Jim Farley has now shut down those rumors. Farley confirmed that Ford talked with Tesla, but he believes Waymo has a better solution. Back in 2021, Tesla CEO Elon Musk admits that he had early discussions with the automakers about licensing self-driving technology, but these discussions didn't lead to any agreements. In 2023, CEO announced that Tesla would be open to licensing autopilot and FSD to other automakers. However, a few months later, Musk said automakers don't believe Tesla full self-driving is real, but he claimed they will soon. In 2024, Musk claimed that Tesla was in discussions with one major automaker about licensing full self-driving. Ford was rumored to be the automaker in question due to its limited effort in autonomous driving and the fact it was the first automaker to initiate the adoption of Tesla's charge connector as a new North American standard. The rumors might have been true, as CEO Jim Farley confirmed that Ford was in talks with Tesla about self-driving during a talk at the Aspen's Idea Festival last week. This is recent, so that was last week. Anyway, he said that he talked with Musk and admitted that both Waymo and Tesla have made progress towards self-driving, but he sees LiDAR, which Waymo uses, but Tesla does not, as a critical part of self-driving. Now, LiDAR is a camera situation, but it uses more laser camera situations than just straight-up cameras than Tesla. And that, of course, was one of my sticking points when we talk about robotaxis, self-driving vehicles, is that dollars or donuts, these cameras are just equipment just like the recall we had a while ago about Ford's rear view camera going out, so you're not having the rear view, cameras go out. So if you're relying on the vehicle to drive you around and it's basing all its driving ability on cameras, that could be a problem if that camera goes out, causing many problems and many accidents. Okay. He said that he talked with Musk and admitted that both Waymo and Tesla have made progress towards self-driving, but he sees LiDAR, which Waymo uses but Tesla does not, as a critical part of self-driving. Farley was directly asked what approach made more sense to us. Waymo, Farley said. He pointed out that both Waymo, owned by Google parent Alphabet and Tesla, I've made a lot of progress on self-driving, and Farley acknowledged that he has had conversations with Elon Musk, but he stated that Ford considered LiDAR to be an important part of the picture, noting that where the camera will be completely blinded, the LiDAR system will see exactly what's in front of you. Ford invested approximately $1 billion in Argo AI, a self-driving startup in partnership with Volkswagen. However, it ceased funding the company in 2022, and Argo AI was subsequently dissolved, with the two automakers integrating their technology. And that is back to that other story about Holland, who is building the Volkswagen technology for the self-driving and ID.Buzz. After this setback, Ford said it would partner with self-driving companies once the technology is further developed. Waymo has first been focused on developing its own vehicles for autonomous ride-hailing, while Tesla has been trying to bring consumer autonomous vehicles to market. These different approaches have been reversing lately, with Tesla launching a pilot program for its own autonomous ride-hailing fleet after years of failing making its consumer vehicles self-driving. Farley says Farley says it the way he sees it, in addition to criticize FSD's camera-only approach. He also recently discussed how humbling and impressive technological growth in China has been. I have been harsh on Farley because of Mrs. Ford had with EV technology, but I think he's spot on with both these analyses. Oh, this is a comment from some dude. Oh, okay, whatever. Meanwhile, Waymo has recently been securing deals with Toyota, Honda by integrating self-driving technology into their consumer vehicles. See, that's what I'm saying. And I say this a lot. And you've heard me say, if you've watched my show at all, you've heard me say this a lot. These companies are going to start partnering together. They're going to start using pretty much the same kinds of technology for these EVs, pretty much the self-driving, the self-parking. All these technologies are going to start being shared, because some companies are way advanced in it, China, and some companies are not. So some companies, just to keep up, are just going to have to bite the bullet and get with the, their enema, and then see what they're doing, and see that what they're doing is better, and try to get them to help them advance themselves. So that's why automakers really have to start working together just to keep each other afloat, specifically here in the U.S. All these automakers in the U.S. have to get together and start working together to try to make the U.S. automakers great again. Electric tech's take. Tesla shareholders have been hoping for those talks that Musk has been teasing for years to come to fruition, and have automakers validate Tesla's approach to self-driving. It looks like it won't be Ford, and it looks like Ford might have been that one major automaker in discussion with Tesla. As Farley put it, they want to take a careful approach to self-driving, and if that's your goal, Tesla might not be the best partner. Elon Musk and Tesla have been taking shot after shot after shot. But Elon Musk still seems to be holding steady, and he don't seem to be tripping. So what are we talking about here? We're talking about that the EV race is seriously upon us. Lots of new EV vehicles out there just hitting the streets mad hard, some good, some bad. I myself do not believe, once again, that we are ready for a massive change over to EVs. I can see a couple EVs on the road. I can see certain people having EVs, just having the ability to charge them, having the ability to maintain them, having the ability to afford them, and it's a good thing. But as we move into a world where our taxis are electric vehicles that are run by machines, our taxi buses are electric vehicles that are run by machines, it's going to change a lot. It's going to change the whole dynamic of people who make money driving people around. It's going to change the whole dynamic of what kind of infrastructure we need to power these electric vehicles. If we have a mass majority of these EV robotaxis out there, how are they going to charge? Where are they going to charge? How fast is their ability to charge? How many are going to be in the road? These are all massive questions that we're going to have to deal with in the future, because we're becoming a Wally world where all electronics and all EVs pretty much running everything. And we get to the point where we're losing our ability to drive our own cars, losing our ability or knowledge to drive certain cars, sticks, manuals, diesels, and we get to a point where we don't know how to drive our cars and only the robots do. What really do we have? Alright, I'm going to let y'all get up out of here. It's always a pleasure. My name is Chris. Please like, share, subscribe to the show. Hit me in the DMs if you have any questions. And I'm out. Peace.